Okay, today we are talking about the good, the bad, and the ugly about parasites. So we're going to start with the good. It's a very small list. The good thing that parasites do for you is they will sequester heavy metals. So they move through your body and they collect these heavy metals and they store them in their body and then also in their biofilm. And so that's the extent of the good things that it does, because now after the heavy metals are stored in the parasites, now you can't get them out. So in order to do a full heavy metal cleanse, first you have to do a parasite cleanse. These little guys, they are just worming through your body and they are carrying heavy metals and bacteria on this biofilm. So you have your little parasite, and then on the outside of the parasite is this clear gelatinous material. It's a protective layer for them, and it's really difficult to get through. This is one of the reasons why our body cannot just flush them out. So we need to have something that can open up the biofilm and then get in there. And so we have a full spectrum tincture, which is what I'm going to give you the recipe for. But I want to talk about parasites first, because we don't talk about parasites. Like, who has parasites? Well, turns out like 95% of the world's population has some form of a parasite. And there's a little list of possible parasites, and we pass them back and forth. So like some people think that, herpes is a virus. Well, some people just say it's a parasite, right? You have to have skin-to-skin contact in order to share it. And it has the same exact function that a parasite would. So this is just one example. So in the 90s, Hulda Clark came out with her belief system, which was this. She thinks that you can do this to all of these if you get rid of parasites. She also wrote a book on the big C. So if you know somebody that has been diagnosed and maybe just wants to flush their system, Hulda's really a good woman to research. And all of my stuff is really coming from her belief system, because I have adopted it. I have seen over the last 2 years especially a lot of people coming out and saying that they know that parasites are in some of these basic things that we consider, like, a bladder infection. Well, they're not testing for parasites. These tumors, they don't test the tumor for parasite. They just say, it's the way that your body is, it's growing these cells. But what is at the core of that? Well, we don't know unless we test. And we don't test, which is part of the problem. Because when you go into the doctor for, maybe you're lethargic or you just don't feel well, what they're going to do is they're going to run a vitamin panel, a blood panel. Are they going to test for parasites? Not unless you request it. And there are some deep reasons for this. I mean, one, the medical industry, that's not on the top of their protocol. They are about symptoms, of finding out what different diseases have those specific symptoms and then treating with that. My belief system, this is how I see it working. But what if those tumors are actually your body's way of creating a bubble and housing these parasites that are irritating? And then you do a biopsy and you open it, and then what happens sometimes is it metastasizes through the body, because if that is true and there is a parasite in there, you just opened up the sac and you just exposed your body to all its little babies. So all I'm saying is it's not going to hurt anything to do a little cleanse. Definitely not going to hurt anything, but there could be major benefits, because these things that we consider symptoms actually is all the same thing you could get from a parasite. So it's really hard to know unless you have them test for a parasite. And there is a limited list of different parasites that the CDC will allow doctors to test for. So we're limited in being diagnosed for parasites. So what we do is we just start there. That's what I do. I'm just showing you what I do. This is for entertainment and educational purposes. I would never say that you should ingest anything. This is just what I believe, where I got my information, and what I ingest and how I do it. And there's just not enough information out there to give anybody a diagnosis. So you need to do that for yourself. And some things are really obvious. If you have intestinal parasites, when you poop or you wipe, there might be a gelatinous, like a clear gelatinous stuff, because it creates mucus in your intestines. So it's like a clear mucus or almost an orangey or a green mucus can show up. If you get an itchy bum, the little critters, pinworms, they come down to your rectum and lay their eggs at night. So sometimes you'll get an itchy bum in the middle of the night. These are just things that can show up if you have parasites. But the list is long. You could just look that up yourself. I don't have time for all that. So, what are we gonna do about it? Well, we're gonna make some tincture. And what you're gonna need are green black walnut hulls. Now, I'm not gonna lie, this is an arduous task. Depending on where your walnuts are in their growth system is going to determine how difficult or easy it is to get these hulls off. And the reason that I have gloves on is because these stain really bad. Like you'll look like you've been playing in the dirt for like ever. So when I do these, what I do is I go around the center of the nut. I take off the whole center, and then I'll go through and I will pop off the ends. Again, arduous task, but you don't have to do it very often because this stuff will last. I mean, what we're putting together in a very strong alcohol tincture, nothing really wants to live in this. So this is gonna last a long time. Who knows? Maybe there's even some in like ancient temple jars or something. So you just peel off the green stuff, and then you have your jar. You want close to a pound of green walnut hulls, and we're gonna do 1/8 of a cup of wormwood, and you're gonna do 1 tablespoon of whole clove. If you're using ground clove, just use a 1/2 tablespoon. And then you're gonna use 2 cups of Everclear. So you need a pint of Everclear. Mix all of that together, and then you're gonna let it sit. Hello, tree. Then you're gonna let that sit for 4 to 6 weeks. You don't really want it to go any farther than 6 weeks. This isn't a tincture that you could be like, oh yeah, I left that in there for a year. Let's strain it and use it. Don't do that. This stuff is strong medicine. And unfortunately, we're not able to make a glycerite. So we have to use the alcohol. You know, some substances you could go either way, but not with this, because the alcohol is what's extracting the juglone out of the green black walnut hulls, and that's your powerhouse here. So we have the juglone, and then we have the wormwood and the cloves, and these two are working synergistically together in the tincture. So Hulda Clark, we love Hulda. She says, you know, you would take your black walnut, and then you would take your clove. Like, she has this all separated into different ingredients that you would take individually. So I just put it all together into one, and there are some actual other benefits to having them together. Like I said, the clove and wormwood are working synergistically to break down that biofilm. Same thing with the alcohol. It actually is a benefit. It's breaking down that biofilm so that the juglone can get in there and do what it needs to do. But about an hour or two after you take your tincture, you need to take a binder. So a binder is going to be an activated charcoal, diatomaceous earth, zeolite, bentonite clay. Anything that is going to draw and attract, you want it to pull the debris out from the dead parasites. You want it to grab the ammonia I mean, you're killing things in your body. So there's going to be chemicals that are released. And so your binders are going to go and help you clear that out. Because if you don't, there are other symptoms that can happen, which are like headaches, nausea. I mean, consider that. I mean, you're killing off a bunch of little tiny bugs in your body. There's going to be some repercussion to that. Just take a binder. And on top of that, you really want to have liver protection for yourself, because we want to make sure that we are supporting our organs. Castor oil packs on the liver are great while you do this. Also, taking milk thistle is going to be really helpful for this. You just want to make sure that you're healing yourself. And this isn't something where, you take it for 3 days and then you call it good. This is a month-long protocol that you do, because you only take a small amount and you don't do it every day. 2 weeks on, 1 week off, 1 week back on. And I mean, not to be in the woo, even though I love the woo, we are gonna cycle this with the moon, and not because we're doing spells here, but because parasites are cycling with the moon. So if it's a new moon or a full moon, those energies are when your parasites are most active. They're laying eggs, and so we want to be in their cycle so that we are getting the most benefit. Like I said, this is a full spectrum parasite cleanse. It's going to kill off all different stages. That's the eggs, the larva, and the parasite. So we just do a little bit at a time, because we're also not trying to shock our body. I mean, like I said, powerful medicine. You wouldn't take a cup of this. You're going to start with 5 drops twice a day. And you're going to build up to, between 15 and 30 drops a day, depending on how your body feels and how your body's reacting to it. Of course, never take anything without consulting your doctor. You got to be careful. If you have allergies, anything like that, you have nut allergies, this might not be the thing for you. You need to determine this. I can only tell you what I do. And so if you take those ingredients, 4 ingredients, you soak them for 4 to 6 weeks, this is your result. Can you see like the bubbles? You can see the bubbles a little bit are this like crazy like yellowy green color, because deep in its soul it is a dark green, but it is so dark. Can you see me? No, it's so dark. It's so thick. It makes me feel like, like I can see the magic. It's so thick, nothing can penetrate. So that's the whole recipe. And then I'm just gonna put a link down at the bottom with the actual protocol of like days that I use. Like I said, I do 2 weeks on, 1 week off, another week on. And then after you do that, then you would, if you wanted to keep moving forward, then you would do a heavy metal cleanse. Also, you could also just eat like a bunch of cilantro and chlorella. So cilantro chelates the metal, and then chlorella helps your body move it out. So those two are really great for the heavy metals. But like I said, if you haven't done your parasite cleanse first, it's going to be really difficult to pull the metals out. And unfortunately, I cannot sell my tincture because I do not have an alcohol license to sell alcohol. And this is really strong alcohol, as you know. But I can sell the herbs, and I'm happy to put together kits. We are standing here in my black walnut tree. I am blessed to have a black walnut tree. Actually, I have 4 black walnut trees. I just happen to live in an area where they grow. These don't grow all over the world. There is a specific elevation that they grow in. I believe they grow in Spain and in California. So anyways, like I said, I'm happy to put together kits if someone is interested, and you can reach me at ConnieLynnParker@gmail.com, and we'll see what we can do for you. So there you go. Happy tincturing. I hope everybody is going to be healthy and connected and feeling amazing soon. And if you are sick, look up Hulda Clark. It doesn't hurt anything. Parasite cleanse is never going to hurt anything. So, go out there in the world, speak your truth, live in the magic of life, and spread the love. I love you guys.